thank the gentleman for yielding. Thank the gentleman for calling this special order hour to honor the life and legacy of his constituent, Barbara Pierce Bush, who we lost last week. And I'm certainly proud to stand with my colleague from Texas to honor the life and the legacy of our former First Lady, Barbara Bush. From New York to West Texas to the West Wing, Ms. Bush served her family and her country with integrity, strength, and grace. She indeed was a member of the greatest generation and spent her life in service to others. You know, it's incredible to reflect. She was only the second woman in our nation's history to be both the wife and the mother of a United States president. Mrs. Bush joined Abigail Adams in an exclusive club of those who have advised our nation's chief executives long before they reached the Oval Office. In her capacity as First Lady, Mrs. Bush used her influence to effect positive change. Although her name was never on a ballot, the American people chose Mrs. Bush as a leader and as a role model. Just yesterday, the Energy and Commerce Health Subcommittee marked up more than 50 bills offering solutions to what is currently a significant crisis in our country dealing with deaths caused by opiates, a devastating epidemic that has touched literally every neighborhood in our nation. Combating this crisis requires not only legislation, but compassion and understanding. But years ago, in her work to help the most vulnerable, Mrs. Bush epitomized such compassion. I actually mentioned this at the start of yesterday's markup in committee. A significant part of Mrs. Bush's legacy will always be her simple embrace of a child with HIV/AIDS at a clinic at a time when the illness was not well understood, and I dare say the illness was feared by most people in the country. This simple act, this simple embrace to reach out and pick up a child at an AIDS clinic helped to destigmatize HIV/AIDS in American culture. It was a seemingly small but a very powerful gesture in 1989. And then Mrs. Bush paved the way for acceptance of patients with HIV/AIDS, their families, and they were moved out of the shadows and could begin to look at treatment options. The world is vastly different today for the patient with HIV/AIDS because of that simple act of compassion evidenced by Mrs. Bush. As Congress now considers how best to end the opiate crisis and other human dignity issues before us, I hope we can remember and follow Mrs. Bush's unwavering dedication to always do what is right. I'm certainly proud to join my fellow Texan from Houston, his constituent tonight, and expressing our condolences to former President H.W. Bush and the rest of the Bush family on the wonderful life of former First Lady Barbara Pierce Bush, and I yield back.